Hi and welcome again to another PC Brain video tutorial. Today's video is going to be on the Windows Registry, and essentially what the Windows Registry is a set of files stored on your computer that control different settings and options about Windows. So I think the best way to actually show you is to actually open it up and show you some examples about what it's actually doing. So the first thing I'll do is show you on Windows XP, for those of you that are using Windows XP out there, because the way to open it is a little bit different. So let's go to our Windows XP computer here, and we're going to go ahead and go to Start, and we click Run. And then right at this Run box, we're going to type the command exactly as I type here, REGEDIT. And go ahead and hit Enter or click OK. And that's going to open up the registry here. The registry is essentially the exact same thing, or looks the exact same thing from the main view here as on Windows Vista and Windows 7. And I'll show you that really quick. To do it in Vista or 7, you're just going to go to your Start button here. And right here in the search box, you're going to type the same command as we did with XP. That's REGEDIT. And you'll see it pop up in the list here, but we can go ahead and just press Enter. And in a second, that's going to load up our registry here. Now, just from first glance, it looks pretty much similar. Same folders here. Now these are basically grouped into categories. We have 5 categories here. We'll flip back over to the Windows XP to show you again. 5 categories, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll just go ahead and flip back over to the Windows 7 machine to show you the rest of the registry. So, once we have our registry open, we can make changes. Now, I kind of have to give you a warning here that if you don't know what you're doing, absolutely, under no circumstances should you ever make any changes to the Windows registry. The only time that you should ever do it is if you know exactly what you're doing. And you can always save certain keys in the registry to back up later on. I highly suggest any key you're going to change, go ahead and back it up just to be sure, and once you know everything's safe, then you can get rid of that backup. First of all, let me go over the categories here. Like I said, there's 5 categories, and I'll just start at the very, very top here. The HKey classes root. What that essentially is going to say, or what it's going to contain, is information about certain programs that are installed on the computer. So when we expand this out by pressing this little down arrow here, we're going to expand out all the different keys within it. There's a ton. There's no way that we could ever go through every single one of these in a video tutorial, but like I said, this folder, the HKey classes root, is essentially about different programs installed on their computer and how they interact with Windows. So what it's mainly known for is that this is where the file extensions are stored. So when you play an MP3 file, let's go there. So let's find .mp3 in this list. A little too far here. MP3. So check this out. There's all sorts of different settings in here. Like iTunes here has inserted some information about MP3s. It looks like the default is VLC Media Player to be the default main program to open it. There's all sorts of settings here about MP3, and that's how Windows knows about the MP3 files stored on this computer. And the same is for any other type of file. exe.doc for a Word document. I'll show you that one real quick. So let's find .doc for .doc. .doc here. Open with. It's going to be MS Word, Word document, etc. So as you can see, it's information about programs. And there's going to be some more information down here. Programs can enter information into here to give Windows information about that specific application. HKey current user, what essentially about what this is different settings that are saved for the user that is currently logged into the computer. Okay, so for example, flip back over to my Windows XP computer here. Here we are. On this computer, we're logged into a user account called PCB. When we go to HKey current user, we're looking at settings specific for this user. Flip back over here. Let me give you an example here. The applications that start up with your computer. So when I start my computer, say for example, Avast antivirus or Malwarebytes anti-malware. There's different programs that run with my computer, but they only run if my specific user account is logged in. And that's what would save in the current user key location. And that specific setting, just to give you as an example, is in this location. Under HKey current user, there's a folder called software. We're going to open up that, and we're going to go all the way down to Microsoft, and we're going to go down to Windows, and we're going to go to current version, and the final last key here is run. So if you'll notice, just for this user, there are two startup locations. I have Internet Download Manager and Adobe Bridge automatically set to start up with the computer only when this user is logged in. Now, if I didn't want Internet Download Manager to start anymore, I could just delete it by clicking delete here or just hitting delete on my keyboard. You can modify the data here if you knew that, say for example, if you wanted to change your settings here, you can go to modify, and this on boot trigger is here. That's usually to make it so that it doesn't start maximized, so it'll start just minimized, so it doesn't pop up every time it starts when it's on boot. So if you didn't want that, if you wanted to actually pop up, you just literally would delete this out, change the setting, and you're done. And it's literally here. This is where you can control that from other programs, but this is the place that it's actually being changed at, the Windows Registry. And again, don't change anything unless you're absolutely sure. You can ruin your computer, honestly. What you can also do is go, if you highlight a key that you're going to change, you can go to File, Export, and you can save the key so that you can re-import it if anything goes wrong. Let's move along here. HKey local machine. These are settings that are global. These are settings for the entire computer. It doesn't matter what user account is logged in, doesn't matter, these settings apply. So if we go down to the same key for this one, software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, and then go again to run, we're going to see the programs that will run every time the computer turns on, no matter what user is logged in. And I have none right now because I have them all turned off, but this is where they would be located. So just so you know, all the settings for every user account, the entire computer, are stored in HKey local machine. HKey users is essentially some information that is stored about current user. So they kind of work together. HKey current config. These settings get literally erased every time the computer starts up. This is information about the current system configuration, the current hardware that's running, the current software settings that have been set that are temporary, essentially, that are going to get reset when the computer restarts. So it's the current configuration. Every setting in here can be changed if you know what you're doing, but essentially that is the registry. Again, be very careful if you are going to mess around in there. And just to show you real quick how to back something up, so say I was going to make a change in here. Let's get to somewhere. So here, this WDM key entry, I would not want to change this because this is specific about hardware here, but I could go to File, Export, and I could literally export this key to my desktop, and I could call it backup key, and it will save that file to my desktop in case I needed to save it for later. That's all for the registry for now. Again, be careful with it. Back up any changes you're going to make. For PC Brain, this is Matt. Till next time.